Hello, the political spotlight is on southwest Norfolk tonight as the Conservatives decide the fate of their controversial election candidate.
And there's a lot at stake. They'll be watching what happens here in other seats across the country. Some believe it's putting grassroots Tories on a collision course with David Cameron over the whole selection process. Let's get the details now from our political correspondent Andrew Sinclair, who's in Swaffham.
Yes, Stuart, and the meeting will start in just under half an hour's time, and you can see members are arriving for it. There is just one motion up for debate tonight. This general meeting of members of the South West Norfolk Conservative Association does hereby deselect Elizabeth Truss as their parliamentary candidate in the forthcoming general election. And if more than 50% of people here tonight vote for that, she will be out. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've heard a lot of people speaking out against Elizabeth Truss, but she does have her supporters as well. Despite the weather, there was no shortage of people out on the course at Swaffham Golf Club this morning. The ladies' captain wasn't among them. Julie Proctor's mind is on tonight's meeting. She is one party member who will be voting in favour of Elizabeth Truss.
Well, she seemed to be the candidate for the job, in my opinion. I don't think she's been dishonest. It's just, if you and I went for an interview, we wouldn't necessarily say, oh, and by the way, I had an affair 5 years ago.
This is a row that's divided the Conservative Party and set local members against the national leadership. Ms Truss and her supporters say her affair with a married MP was a long time ago and already in the public domain. There was no need to flag it up. But those opposed to her feel the information was deliberately held back in an attempt to get a central office A-list candidate into a safe seat.
Well, she's an absolutely excellent candidate, and I very much hope she'll be the candidate.
David Cameron continues to support Ms Truss. He and other senior members of the party are livid about the way South West Norfolk Conservatives have behaved. If she is deselected tonight, it'll be seen as a big snub to his leadership.
So, Andrew, how bad can the fallout from this row be?
Well, there'll be fallout even if she survives tonight. Why this row has become so big, Stuart, is that it shone a spotlight on an issue that's upsetting many members of the Conservative Party across the country at the moment. Many associations are getting angry because they feel that Conservative Central Office is imposing outside candidates on them as we get close to an election, often at the expense of local candidates. There's a row that's beginning to develop over in Suffolk Central, Michael Lord's old seat, where the shortlist was published last week, and guess what? There were no local candidates on it. And this is why so many people have got cross about this whole Elizabeth Truss affair. Now, I think Central Office have learnt from this. I think we will see changes to the candidate selection procedure at some stage in the future. Of course, if Elizabeth Truss is thrown out tonight, there'll be implications for David Cameron and his standing in the party. And the South West Norfolk Association, which has been criticised for disloyalty, well, they'll be seen as pariahs within the Conservative Party.
You're in the constituency now. Is there any sign that people are being won over by Elizabeth Truss or not?
Well, over the last couple of weeks, away from the cameras, she has been going around meeting people in the constituency, and I'm told she's been winning them over. She's got some very high-profile supporters. So Christopher Fraser, the existing MP, will be here tonight. Baroness Shepherd, his predecessor, she will be coming along tonight. Both of them will be speaking in support of Elizabeth Truss. And the meeting will start tonight with a reminder that we are very close to an election, and the party will be told that now is not the time for disloyalty. I spoke to one senior executive member not long ago. He seemed to think the party has come round and that they will back her tonight.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Well, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the newspapers have had lots to say about South West Norfolk. Phrases like the turnip Taliban have cropped up, with some Tory members described as Neanderthal. But what is it really like in this corner of East Anglia? Mike Liggins has spent the day there.
Jack Richardson has lived and worked in the village of Barton Bendish all his life. A former farm worker, Jack is 70. He's still working as a gardener and is not a big fan of Elizabeth Truss.
I've said all the way along, why should we have somebody from out of the area? It always used to be somebody who lived in the area, who you knew or have heard of, but now I think they are trying to pick and choose who they like. And I don't think that goes down very well with a lot of the country folk.
Barton Bendish is right in the heart of the constituency. Halfway between Swaffham and Downham Market, the village is typical in many ways. This is farming country, conservative with a small c. Many retired people live in the village. The Elizabeth Truss story has attracted attention from the national media, and they haven't always been very complimentary, referring to some of the locals as the turnip Taliban and Neanderthals. Jeff Hipperson is a farmer in the nearby village of Sholdham. What does he think about phrases like the turnip Taliban?
Well, I don't really like it. We get a little bit used to it with people coming in from afar and looking at us a bit like that, but we sometimes have the last laugh.
In what way?
Well, I think we're daft. I mean, I hope I'm not that daft.
We're the breadbasket of the nation out in the country with the farming, and so I think they should look on us a little bit with a little bit more respect.
Elizabeth Truss divides opinion here. Some are sympathetic, others less so. Most people, Jack Richardson included, appear to agree on one thing. They would prefer a local person to be their new Conservative candidate. Mike Liggins, BBC Look East, South West Norfolk.
We will, of course, bring you the result of that meeting in our late bulletin tonight. News is coming in that a soldier from Essex has been killed in an explosion in Afghanistan. The serviceman from 3-3 Engineer Regiment was based near Saffron Walden. Alex Dunlop has the latest. Alex.
Well, Susie, we won't know the soldier's name or his specific role within 3-3 Engineers until tomorrow at the earliest, while a period of grace is observed. What we do know is that he was killed in a blast near Gereshk in Helmand Province yesterday afternoon. His regiment is based at Carver Barracks at Wimbish. Now, his next of kin have been told, but it's not yet clear how the serviceman died. We've got two scenarios, really. Either he stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device, or was caught in an explosion, or his vehicle hit a landmine. Or the second possibility is that he was a bomb disposal expert trying to make one of these IEDs safe when it went off. Now, you may remember that Staff Sergeant Olaf Schmidt died 2 weeks ago while trying to defuse a bomb. Now, we recently covered the return of more than 75 soldiers from 3-3 Engineer Regiment when they returned to their base at Wimbish. They'd been replaced in Helmand by 100 of their colleagues from 49 Squadron, and it's likely that the soldier may have been part of this team. You have to realise that these men have probably one of the most dangerous jobs in Afghanistan because they walk into danger. They are bomb disposal experts. They make safe these IEDs. A spokesman for Task Force Helmand, Lieutenant Colonel David Wakefield, said the soldier was, and I quote, part of the counter-IED task force. His courage and the sacrifice made by him in the fight against improvised explosive devices in Helmand will not be forgotten. This latest death takes the toll of those killed in Afghanistan among British troops to 97 this year.
Thank you, Alex. Later on Look East.